Find someone who knows. You remove your hand. Well, yeah, there's a bunny there.
Yeah, it's got bunnies on it.
Oh no, it's lovely.
It's hilarious.
But why is he wearing a shirt that says Nixon?
Why is he wearing a shirt that says Nixon?
Because that was the shot he had on when Claire emailed the picture over to her. So she's copied the...
Oh, so she copied the picture like that.
Yes, she just copied the picture.
What's Nixon got to do with it?
Oh, no, not Nixon as in the person, Nixon as in the brand. It was the t-shirt he had on in the photograph.
Ah, okay.
No connection to him who was Watergate, etc.
No, I'd hope not.
No.
Oh yeah, it was frightening.
So, we'd like to... Hello. Upside down. We'd like to give you this. And finally, I will now hand you over to Martin, and he will go forth and try and embarrass me and read some stuff he found on Google. Who were they on? Scott!
Right, who's got the smallest amount of time on this one? 14.
That's smallest.
Right, well. Does this count yet or not? Right. Before I start, I've been asked to read out messages that people can't make it and things like that. I'm afraid I've only got one, but I'll go through it quickly. Obviously, the card that Mandy's passed on to me essentially says, Claire and Steve, lots and lots of congratulations and good luck. It's hard, but it's worth it. And that's from Bob Geldof. That is actually
Genuinely
from
from Bob
Geldof.
Geldof.
From Bob Geldof.
Got Bob to sign it for you.
There you go. Right, straight off, I'd like to congratulate the couple. It's been a great day so far, really enjoyed ourselves, and of course it wouldn't be a day without you lot. So thank you all for coming along, it's fantastic. Steve and Claire will without doubt have a long and happy marriage. Do better and of course worse. Sadly, knowing Steve and Claire as well as I do, Claire could probably do a lot better. She couldn't do much worse. I've been a friend of Steve for quite a long time now. We go way back into school, sixth form and then on to university. I've argued lots over the years, lots and lots, all the time, beer or whatever. But thankfully maturity is finally shown with Steve. Finally shown. And he has admitted that I am in fact the best man. It takes a big man to admit that, so thanks Steve. Right, well I'll stand here and sing Steve's praises. I'm not a very good singer, sorry. But I'll tell you about his many, many strong personality traits. I don't like lying in front of good people. And will I give him some sage advice? Alas, a no. Being married myself for 2 years now, I realise any advice I have is poor advice. I'm always wrong. So, I'm sorry about that. Right, I will however tell you about Steve and why he was my best man at my wedding, and now I've ended up his best man. I know what he likes, I know what irritates him. Let's come around to it, it's a bit simple really. Steve's likes and dislikes are clear and concise, they're nice and simple. Steve likes cheese. He likes meat. He likes meat and cheese and then coated with more meat. It's nice and simple. He would say he has a wide diet that ticks all the boxes. But thankfully, in support of him over the years, with now Claire who's more than willing to develop Steve. He's extended his diet beyond multi-packs of Coca-Cola, with meaty, cheesy sandwiches to include much more exotic meats and much cheesier cheeses. He has increased his love of beer to include a love of cider, which means at least he's getting one of his 5 a day. On top of this, Steve has taken up running. And not in order to escape a threatening situation like he would have done at school, actually for exercise. However, looking back, things are not always so good. I remember back to a point early in Steve and Claire's relationship, when myself and Kate joined the new... Take my word, sorry. Myself and Kate joined the new couple for a slap-up meal in Wetherspoons. Very classy. We were students indeed. We were a relatively steady relationship. The water was still being tested with Steve and Claire. It was early on. And there was a moment, thankfully it was brief, when this charming love story was close to an abrupt end. It was terrible. We sent the girls up to order, as we did not need to look at the menu. I would normally browse the menu and come back to the normal choice. Steve, however, he would never stray away. Always the same thing, over and over again. We would always order the mixed grill. That's all you ever go for, mixed grill. But it was while the girls were up at the till, that the pressure must have got to them and it all went horribly wrong. It was when the meals arrived that the panic stepped in. I noticed straight away. It was not the mixed grill itself. There was all the meat that Steve would ever want, as usual. It was his safety net. It was what was on the plate next to the pile of meat-based heaven. Someone had clearly made a mistake in the kitchen. The meat was surrounded by a proverbial forest of salad. And where his strong army of chips should have stood, a dainty jacket potato leant smugly against his Lincolnshire pork sausage, as if smiling up at Steve to rub his face in the mistake of his new girlfriend. I felt like sinking my seat. Claire looked broken, a little devastated, and an awkward silence from Kate as she realised the error. We waited for the reaction, the breakdown, the storming out of the room, the arrival of the incredible sulk. But it didn't happen. Steve calmly accepted this unacceptable error. Any of us done it? Oh no, never speak to us ever again. However, he didn't take it to heart. He of course let Claire know the error of her ways. And in a loving fashion, I'll be surprised if a leaf of salad has ever landed on his plate since. We walked out, me and Kate, discussing it, knowing that they would be together for a very long time. They were clearly meant to be. Now I don't believe in fate and people being meant together myself, but I can't help but feel in Steve and Claire's case there may be a little truth in it. I don't know if there'll be anyone else in the world that would feel with the confidence that Steve would make it past say 30 or even 40 years old. We always joke the fact early on that Steve has a very, very, very low sense of risk and danger. Although generally unsporty, I'll stop at this point. Before this meal I said Steve was generally unsporty, however I've learnt a bit during this meal. He is unsporty, however he has a history of sport. He is actually a talented dancer, and you can all look forward later to a bit of Morris dancing and ballet, which apparently Steve has got experience in both. So we'll bring that up later on. However, although generally unsporty, I've witnessed Steve throwing himself around in his snowboard at unsavoury speeds and attempting things which other unskilled mortals just would not attempt or should not even consider. It's not like he ever succeeded in these things. The fact that he tried says something about him. Playing squash, Steve feels that the generally accepted method of stopping and turning using his legs is just too slow and inefficient, and so insists on running into walls to provide the impact force to allow himself to turn. It's a miracle that he's undamaged up to this point. On my own stag do, there was a moment in the pouring rain, pouring down in Amsterdam, between one pub and the next, when Steve's motivation to reach the next bar and pint without getting too wet resulted in his strong, strangely efficient, but awkward running style, ploughing through an unsuspected, terrified cyclist at top speed. In a cartoon-like fashion, Steve, seemingly indestructible his brain, shook itself off and took off to the next bar for a pint. It was very, very impressive. I can only assume that the cyclist managed to reattach his front wheel and straighten their frame, but we didn't stop to check. Now, I can only think that with Steve getting older and maybe starting to feel a little bit gone, maybe, starting to feel his age, that the decision to get a nurse on full time is probably a good one. Now, I've been to some weddings where the best man has done, and I've been to a couple where props have been used. So. But I've always felt personally, my own strength has been in my writing. So just bear with me for a few moments more. I have actually, sadly, wrote a poem to Steve. This is an ode to Steve and Claire. Let's congratulate Claire on her marriage to Steve. I'll say a few words and then gracefully leave. Claire's gorgeous as always, rarely seen without smile. There'll be no stopping that now they've been up the aisle. Steve's a lovely bloke. He has plus points to spare. He's made his late 20s with a full head of hair. He's got a strong frame. He's built like a rock. He's warm and he's humble. And he's got a big heart. Steve can be a whiner. He likes a good moan. He can't stomach a curry too long on a throne. He used to drink slowly, but sped up with the years. He still has a habit of fat washing his beers. He's an IT master on a keyboard, tap tap like a dancer. If my hard drive's corrupted, Steve will be my answer. It's his hobby, his degree, his career, he's a bot. His professional help, he tried switching it on and off. Truly inspiring. Right. You spank your monkey, Steve. He was once asked in school, I don't have a monkey. He would reply, you're such a tool. Now he's a bit older and says something a bit odd. At least he's got Claire in his corner to pat his head and look proud, smile and nod. When I've needed some time just to stop and to think, Steve asks what I need, nothing serious, just do you want a drink? Never complicated, sometimes silly, there for a chat. You could do a lot worse, and Claire would back that. They're wonderful people, and friends for life. They are a true couple, a man and a wife. Before I outstay my welcome, and make you all heed, please raise a toast to our Claire and our Steve. Wait until the technical question. Just wait for it. I want to hear to wake up.
I'm sorry, yes, I know. I know, I'm videoing, you see.